Hey guys, I said I was going to do a quick video about a spooky situation. So, I'm sitting in here in my pajamas, so excuse me, but so the spooky thing first. So, Sunday, this past Sunday, October 29th. It was cold, windy, rainy, sucked outside. I think we skipped fall, went right to like winter. But me and my partner, Jay, I'll call him Jay. Anyways, so me and Jay decided that we were going to go up to the bar and make some pots of chili for the week for our customers. Well, he had drank a few beers, football and beer. So he wanted me to drive the truck and he would be the passenger, which makes me nervous anyways, him riding in passenger, but whatever. So we get in the truck and I live off of Highway 67 and we're driving to town heading towards the high school, right? And it's raining and his windshield wipers are going, and we get up by the high school and there's a car ahead of me. It's probably about four semi links ahead of me. And the tail lights are on, of course, because it's rainy and kind of cloudy and it's not bright and sunny by no means. So everybody's got their lights on. But there was a vehicle that was probably about, like I said, 3 or 4 semi links ahead of me. And they had just passed Tyson Road and I'm, going 55. And I can see them getting close to that woods. And all of a sudden I see a man without a coat on run across the freaking highway right after that car passes. He runs across the highway. I take my foot off the gas to push on the brakes to slow down because I'm scared me going 55 is going to hit this man. And I even said, what is that guy doing? Because he had no coat on. He had shorter sleeves on. He had beige-ish like collared pants, like a weird beige collar pants, weird beige collar short kind of sleeved shirt. I could tell it was a man by the way he looked. And I was like, what the hell is that guy doing? Or something like that. And I went to push on the brakes because I was afraid he wouldn't make it across before I got to that section, right? So that section would have been the field in the woods. And then right across from that is the old hotel and the car lot. Okay, on Highway 67. And Josh was like, what? And I said, did you see that guy? I can't believe he didn't have a coat on, like he was running across the highway, raining, cold, windy, freezing out with no coat on. And why was he running across the highway like that? Josh's like, I don't see him. Jay, whatever, Josh. I don't see him. And I was so spooked by it myself because when I seen him running, in my head I heard prisoner, Indian, prisoner, Indian. Like I kept going back and forth. And I was like trying to concentrate on what he was saying, but I could hear the music in Jay's vehicle playing. And Jay's being so quiet, like white as a ghost. And I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. I was like, you didn't see him? He's like, no, I did not. And then he shut up. Like he did not want to talk about what I just saw and how it affected me. And we're rounding the corner, by the radio station. And all I keep hearing is like prisoner, Indian, prisoner, Indian. So I don't know what that means, but I was trying to concentrate, but the music was throwing me off, so I couldn't pick up. And I thought that guy that ran across the highway in front of us was as solid as you or I running across that highway. So in my head, I literally thought it was a real person running across the highway. And when Jay said he didn't see it, that's when I was like, whoa, I have never seen a spirit so solid like that. I could not see through them. They looked like you or I, so much so that I went to apply my brakes because I thought I'm going to hit somebody. So we rounded the corner by the radio station. We pull up at the light, and I'm in the turn lane because I'm going to go get a coffee before we head to the bar, right? He thinks I'm going to go straight to the bar. So he asks, what are you doing? And in my head, I heard him say, what was the guy doing? And I said, I don't know what the guy was doing. He had no coat on. He was running across the road. And I kept hearing prisoner, Indian, prisoner, Indian. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. Like I could tell that something freaked him out. So I go get my coffee. We go to the bar. We make the pots of chili for the week. And blah, blah, blah. We get home. Still no talking about it at all whatsoever. And I just kind of let it go, because I know sometimes the things I hear and see spook him a little bit, which he's pretty open to it when I'm here at home. But he's not really ever been with me when I've witnessed things like that. Like, he's never been with me when I've seen somebody standing on the side of the road, or he's never been with me when I've been in the store and I see someone. But usually I don't see him like that. When I see loved ones or people who've parted from this earth, I might be able to tell you what they have on, what they look like. They might sometimes tell me their name. I usually mostly hear them, but I will see them sometimes. And it's mostly almost like a daydream. You're thinking about somebody, and I can see through them. Like if they're in my garage, I can see through them, but I can see what they have on detailed, but they're not a solid form. This person was a solid form, which was new to me. I've never seen it so solid like that. So we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. And finally, last night, Wednesday night, we're standing in the kitchen, and he says, the other night when we were driving to town and you went to put on your brakes because you didn't want to hit that man. I said, yeah. He said, that spooked me. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, that spooked me. And I said, it spooked me too, because I've never seen a spirit so solid like a normal human being in my life. I've never seen that. Not that way, to the fact that it's affecting me and I want to slam on my brakes because I really think it's a person, a normal human running across the road. Well, I think it spooked him because he's never really been with me when I've actually dealt with that while I'm driving, or been at the grocery store and seen someone, or been in a building and seen someone, but nobody else sees them. So he kind of experienced what I go through on a daily, except, like I said, the spirit or Indian prisoner or whatever he was solid as you or I, which freaked me out too. And I couldn't even think straight when I was driving. I mean, yeah, I was paying attention to the road, but in my head, I'm like, what the hell did that guy, what was he doing? Who was he running from? I'm trying to get this information, but like I said, Jay's radio was distracting me, and I was also distracted by the fact that it looked so real. This person looked so real that I thought this person was running from something and freezing to death in the cold winter without a coat, and this really short-sleeved shirt on, and beige pants, whatever, and beige shirt. And I almost feel like maybe it was an Indian. I don't know the history around this area for Indians and Jay County historical stuff. I don't know that stuff. I don't know what Highway 67 used to be. When I told the story to a friend, they said their daughter had a book of Jay County history, and there used to be something out this way called a log road. I don't know if that's where they traveled this road, after cutting trees down. I don't know. I'd like to find out more about that because of that reason of seeing that man running. But he finally seen or witnessed what it's like for me, sometimes on a daily basis, hit and miss. Sometimes I hear them more than I see them. So he got to witness firsthand, Jay did, what it's like for me to see spirits, so much so that it affects me. That was the first time it's ever affected me like that. Like I said, applying the brakes or whatever. So that was definitely different. And I think the reason why that person or spirit was so solid was because we're going into the holiday season. Like I said, heaven's really close to us. A lot of people don't realize how close it is. I don't want to say it's another dimension, but in a sense it kind of is, because we are so close to our loved ones. On the other side, we just don't realize how close we are. People always say, look up to the sky and say heaven is there and hell is down there, but in all reality it is not that way. It's not up in the sky and down below. It's like a spiritual area, or but it's closer than what we think. Anyways, so I think that's what spooked him, because it took him that many days to talk to me about it. And I said, now you kind of understand. And I explained to him how real that person was, and that I've never experienced it so real like that, to where I was scared I was going to hit a normal human here on earth. But in all reality, it was a spirit that showed themselves like you or I. So that was my spooky story. And it wasn't even Halloween yet. But also, on another note, I did a video a couple weeks ago about me doing a reading for a guy who lives in Las Vegas. I've never met this man personally. You know, like I said, 3 years ago, there was a photo on some weird Facebook group that I didn't even belong to that popped up on my Facebook somehow. I seen the picture. I made a comment. I told him if he wanted more information about what I'm seeing, because he seen my comment and knew I was right, he private messaged me, and I gave him more stuff, okay, about moving across country, which he had just done. He told me 3 years ago he had moved across country for a job, totally out of his element. The man was originally from Georgia, but he had 5 months prior to me doing the last reading for him, he had moved to Vegas. And I told him not to feel guilty about that, because his family in heaven didn't want him to feel guilty about it. But so I called him on that Friday, and I had already gotten a lot of information before I even talked to him. So I had wrote down everything that I felt right before I called him. Plus I had stuff that I had picked up when he first messaged me a couple weeks prior. So I'm talking on the phone with him, and I just love this guy's personality. He has got such an upbeat vibe. He is just like me. We love barbecuing outside. We love smoking meat on the smoker, you know, so automatically my energy and his energy connect, and I can read him like the back of my hand. He was so easy to read because he's so open to whatever, you know, and he's so open-minded, and he believes like I do that there's a God, we believe in God, and that things happen and blah, 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 right? So I don't want to tell you his name for reasons, but he had his significant other there with him, and I didn't know if he had a significant other, but the spirits told me he did. My guides and stuff told me. Matter of fact, they told me, because I had him send me 2 pictures, or had him send a couple pictures. I wanted a picture of him, and I wanted a picture of him and his girlfriend, or whatever, if he had one. So that way, if she was in the room when I did his reading, if I was picking up things for her, I would be able to separate the two. He's sort of saying, that way I knew her energy, I knew his energy, okay? So we're talking. I'm telling him about all this stuff, and it's so crazy because he was like, oh my God. I think it shocked him so much that I knew things that there's no way I could know him, right? What was so cool was, prior, when we were just texting a couple weeks prior to this phone reading I just did, I kept seeing this woman, this real pretty woman in a blue dress, like she was going to church, right? Okay. But this woman really didn't feel like she had passed away to me, so I thought that was very weird. Like, why am I picking up this lady's vibe? This must be somebody very important in his life, right? Come to find out, when I told him about this lady, he said, that's my aunt. She's still alive, and she just sent me a picture a couple weeks ago of her on a cruise ship in a blue dress, like a really fancy dress she'd go to church in, kind of. And he says, that's weird that you said the lady in the blue dress. I can see her. So what else was weird in my notes? I had wrote down, who is the woman that works in a medical field, but not like a nurse, not a doctor. She's more of an office person, and I see prescription pills, right? He said, that's the aunt you're talking about. She's actually works in an office that deals with handling prescriptions and stuff. So I just let him know that your spirit loved ones are trying to show you the truth. Like, this girl's telling you everything we're giving her, because how else would I know this about that aunt, right? And they're very close, he said. She was like a second mom to him. So that's where that came in at. The next thing was, this is crazy, guys. I can't tell you the whole reading because it was just so amazing. But to make a long story short, there was this one part in particular that stuck out so much to me, I got chills up my body. So I told him, I said, I don't know what this is, but I see a beach. And I know Vegas don't have beaches, But I see a beach, I see the ocean, I'm seeing the waves come in like in the evening, you know what I'm saying, at night or in the evening. And I said, I can see the ocean kind of glistening and the waves rolling in, and I'm standing on a beach. And I just remember I kept looking at the scene like, this is so amazing, this is so beautiful. And I kind of heard like, we heard you. I'm thinking, what the hell? So I said, okay, I don't know what this is to you, but I see a beach, I see waves, and I'm feeling like we heard you. You know what I'm saying? He said, oh my God, oh my God. He was freaking out because he said, listen, my birthday was October 13th. He says, we went on a birthdaycation to San Diego, and me and my girlfriend was standing on the beach by the ocean, and I said, my family, my loved ones, my ancestors, if you are there, you've got to give me a sign. You need to give me a sign. He said at that minute, these ambulance lights went on, and he was like, whoa. But then in your head, you're kind of like, oh, that was just coincidence, right? Because that's our ego stepping in. So he just let it go. But no, I was his, we heard you. That guy said, he said, oh my God, they just acknowledged what I asked. And I said, well, I feel like they're saying we heard you. And he says, because I asked them, give me some sign that you heard me. That's what he said. Give me some sign that you hear me. And I was the sign, because I said the beach, the ocean, exactly where he was standing. And I said, we heard you. How freaking crazy is that? You cannot make this stuff up, people. It's crazy. But he was like, oh my God, they're acknowledging that they heard me, and that's what I asked. If you hear me, please give me a sign. And I was that sign. We heard you, because that's what they showed me for relevance. Also, I told him, because when he sent me the picture of his girlfriend, his loved ones on the other side, grandma and grandpa mostly, said, she's the one. And there was a song that specifically played. Okay. So I had told him about this song, and he's like, that song has to be for my birthday weekend, because I went with my partner, and he has been with this girl for 9 years, and I didn't know this. But anyways, I said, I know that I shouldn't be giving relationship advice. I said, but you know when you meet that person and you just know that's the one? I said, well, your loved ones on the other side are saying, she's the one, she's the one. And he said, oh my God. I said, they really like her. Just so you know that. And I did not know if they'd been together 9 days, 9 months, 9 years. I didn't know. And I said, so I don't know how long you've been with your girlfriend, because I didn't know at the time. But they're telling me she's the one, she's the one, she's the one. And he said, that's crazy. We've been together for 9 years, and they're not married yet. But they were kind of pushing for that, but whatever. But anyway, so that's just kind of how my reading went, and it was so freaking amazing. Me and this guy connected so much. His energy was so easy to read. I loved his girlfriend was in the background saying, oh, you know what that is? And when I was saying things, and he was like, hey, come here, to his girlfriend. And then I would say things, and she'd be like, oh my gosh, I know what that is. You know, like she participated. So it was so cool that I got to feel their vibe and got to feel that spirit within them. They have such an amazing aura around them. The crazy thing is, I also told him, I sometimes have seen auras around people, but he said, and I don't know much about auras. I know there's like different colors and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what the colors stand for. Okay, I probably have to Google it to find out. But when I seen him, I seen blue around him, yellow over his one shoulder, and white in the palm of his hands. And I brought this to his attention. I said, I don't know why they're showing me white in the palm, white around your hands, like balls of light around your white light around your hands. I said, I'm assuming that means you're some kind of healer or something. Like if you had a person with you in your car, that whatever good happens to you will also happen to them. It's almost like he's contagious when it comes to healing people, whether it's financially, emotionally, physically, whatever. I almost felt like he was some kind of healer, right? So he said, oh God, my time's running out. So he said, that's crazy. because a guy at work got hurt the other day or whatever. He cut his arm with a bush trimmer or whatever, and they wrapped it up with something or whatever. And my friend, or my new friend, put his hands on that guy's thing because he knew it was really bad. But he said, oh, it's not that bad. It's going to just need a few stitches. He had said, I laid both hands on top of him, and that guy calmed down and said, okay. And then they got him taken care of, got him fixed up. And he said, that's weird that you said that about my hands, because I calmed that man down by putting my hands on his arm and saying, it's going to be okay. It's not that bad. So that all made sense to him. He knew what I was talking about. And yeah, and then I said, always my famous thing. I said, for some reason, you know, I always say, believe, 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 especially in yourself. He says, oh, I do believe. The next day, the guy texts me, and there's a license plate in front of him that says believe. That's not coincidence. That's some crazy shit. But I just want to give you guys a little part of my life, you know, the day in the life of crazy or whatever you want to call it. But it's fun when things like that happen, because you know that this stuff is real. You know this stuff, you can't make this shit up. There's no way. This guy's 1,500 miles away from me, and I know his whole life story, and I know who his deceased loved ones are, and I know who his alive family members are, and I see this and I see that, and it relates to him, and he knows all these things. And it's not like I'm just pulling shit out of the air. This is what his family's telling me. But with that said, I'm going to run out of time. But it's just fun to share my experiences with you guys, because I want you to still believe, 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 and always believe in yourself. And pay attention, because you're going to have lots of signs and symbols during these holiday seasons. All right. Love you all. Night.